This is the OnePlus Nord CE4 Lite. It costs less than £300. Actually, if you buy it on an early bird offer, there's a bunch of promotions going on. Check your relevant OnePlus websites. The benefit here though is it has a lot of really high-end features, and let's cover off a few of those. So you get an AMOLED panel, IP54 dust and water resistant, and for us, which is a kicker, 256 gigabytes of standard storage, 80 watts of wired charging, which is lush, 5110 milliamp hour battery, and then the front is capable of recording in 1080p, and the rear also, which is powered by a 50 megapixel camera. So tons to like here. We've been waiting for this device for a short while for it to come out. In this particular blue especially, it looks great. However, it is a fingerprint magnet, but the main question we're going to ask, as always, is it any good? Let's find out. So let's cover off a few things. Build. It's plastic, but it feels really nice in the hand. Squared off edges. Borders are thin all over, but not symmetrical. You get a chunkier border at the bottom here. Bit of a shame, but beyond that, it's fine. Then let's talk ports. You've got a mic at the top. On the side, you've got your SIM, and then at the bottom, you've got a 3.5mm jack. Bottom firing speakers, USB-C. Speakers at the top will fire out sound as well. And then you've got your volume up and down and your power button as well, with the fingerprint sensor built into the screen. So generally in terms of look and feel, pretty sturdy, pretty well built, nice feel in the hand. It does feel like a phone that is 6.67 inches. The only disappointment I would say is the borders aren't symmetrical, and it does have a bit of a chin. So if you look at our review of the Honor 200 Lite, if you factor that in, that had a symmetrical border, costs less. And to be honest, probably design-wise is very similar, but maybe feels a little bit cheaper than this Nord 4 Lite. Let's touch on the rear and that housing. First of all, camera design, aesthetically, actually looks pretty great. In fact, it's going to look really familiar come September when you buy your iPhone 16 series. It's literally going to be laid out the exact same way. But those cameras, bit of a weird setup here. You've got a 50 megapixel f1.8 wide angle lens, capable of recording in 1080p at 30 FPS, and then a 2 megapixel depth sensor. So no ultra wide, obviously no periscope, no telephoto. Bit of a weird one, but let's talk image quality in general. Pretty good, considering it's a single lens, essentially with a depth sensor, but overall quality is good. You can add filters to any of the photos and videos you've seen. We've done it just out of camera and just taking shots as it would. If you want to add filters, you can add filters, but we want the raw processing of the sensor itself. Photos in daylight, nighttime, video, etc., all are possible and good for what you're paying for. Are they better than something like the Honor 200 Lite or the Nothing Phone 2A, the latter being a bit more expensive? No, I think that's not the case at all. I think they offer a richer color profile, better quality, especially the 2A is probably worth that extra bit of money. To be fair, if you're looking at camera performance and general look and feel, that's gonna feel better than this CE4 Lite, but overall camera performance and video performance is definitely possible. Shame about not having an ultra wide. You get a 2x zoom only as well, so a few of those images are popped in within this camera outline. So let's talk performance. 8 gigabytes RAM, Snapdragon 695, 6nm processor powering the device at all. And I would say, looking at the raw performance, let's just take gaming as your best example to start off with, actually runs really well. Did us a decent amount of gaming, a couple of hours in Call of Duty on here, and MVP'd it as standard. But game performance actually pretty good. It was in the right hand column of there, you can see your milliseconds, and it's in the sort of mid to late 20s. Actually pretty great. Generally, graphically, how it functions, no slowdowns. If we shift from that onto OS, again, very brief overview of the OS because we've been through this before. And the 120 Hz display on the CE4 Lite with that 695 Snapdragon processor runs very well. No real issues here, no real slowdowns. I guess the problem you're probably going to counteract is if you're really pushing the processor, you've got tons of app opening, a lot of things going, then it does and will slow down. But general day-to-day use is pretty good. The screen, in terms of video, again, looks really good. AMOLED display, so colors and brightnesses are really great. 400 nits of peak brightness here, so substantially lower than what you're going to get in your main sort of flagship hero devices. but for what it offers, it's actually pretty decent. And then sound quality actually is pretty good. In fact, we will shut up right now and you can listen to the sound quality of the Nord CE4 Lite. Let's wrap things up with the good and the bad of the CE4 Lite. The good, essentially great battery life, 5,110 mAh, 80 watts of wired charging. You do get an IP rating, even though it is IP54 dust and water resistant. Screen resolution and quality, again, very good. Build, feel, sound, all good. The only downsides I personally would say, touching on the IP54, it's only IP54 dust and water resistant, not bothered about the wireless charging. The biggest letdown, personally, two things. One, there's not the symmetrical borders around the device. You got that chin at the bottom. It is a little bit off-putting when you consider rivals. We'll get to that in a second. And then the cameras. You get a 2x zoom only with that depth sensor, and then the 50 megapixel main is capped at 1080, when we know that lens is actually capable of recording in 4K. Bit of a miss on those two fronts. I would say when it comes to rivals, would you pay an extra $50 to $60 more for the Nothing 2A? Yes. Or would you pay about $50 less and get it on a 200 Lite? Yes. I think the main selling point with the CE4 Lite is going to be branding and of course the OS side. And touching on that, OS support isn't great. You're not going to get more than 3 years worth of software updates on the CE4 Lite, which is a bit of a shame. But beyond that, it's a capable device. Would we recommend it? Probably no. Go for the 200 Lite or the Nothing 2A would be the better options. Thank you so much for watching. Till the next one, as always, we out.